This is a copyrighted audiobook production of Music, Silence, and Noise, authored by Muhammad Saad Riaz. All rights reserved.
Music, Silence, and Noise. Chapter 1. Listen. Music, Silence, and Noise. Eist le fouem na haban is geobhed tu brets. Listen to the sound of the river, and you will catch a trout. Irish proverb. I always emphasize understanding the individuality of students, but when it comes to looking at the classroom environment, I prefer to divide students into groups. My approach is not only convenient, but also very practical. I have spoken to many teachers and tried to understand their plan of managing their classroom environment. Most of them do have an approach. Many of them have excellent ways to deal with their students at an emotional level. Of course, we can all suggest improvements. It is very easy to be critical in any of our approaches, and this is not my aim for writing this book. I have, however, found that there is a need to craft a toolkit, like a Swiss Army knife, for teachers. It can be challenging for school teachers to create a well-planned learning program suitable for their class participants without knowing the balance of personalities in their classroom. The harmony model grew gradually in my teaching strategies, taking shape from the countless experiences with students from various walks of life and social strata. It is a tool that helps me present my ideas that I have extracted from years of my work in the training and development industry, linking up with an existing body of knowledge. I have embarked upon this amplification with a conviction that the model presented in this book is of broad significance and application. I suggest that the harmony model be treated in a general frame of reference. It does not aim for a stringent application or to confine your viewpoints into boxes. Because I firmly believe that human temperaments are distinctive yet fluid. My critics commonly go astray by assuming that the four quadrants are, so to speak, half-baked, as they don't include the full continuum of personalities. I must emphasize that the relative predominance of personality temperaments demands careful analysis. However, my model helps to throw the picture into necessary relief. Thus, to remove the complexity of specialized scientific and psychological theories, I have based my model on broader categorizations such that even an educated layman can derive some benefit from it. The harmony model is a deductive presentation of insights gained empirically, working with a diverse demography of students. I have been teaching in 4 different countries. My students come from more than 25 different nationalities and different social status. I have taught students ranging from 4 years of age to my oldest student being 73 years old. My experience of corporate training and private tuition gave me opportunities to work with some of the Fortune 500 companies. All of this wealth of experience helped me to present the inference that I have drawn. Personality types. The personality continuum of introverts and extroverts was introduced in 1921 by Carl Jung in his book Psychologische Typen, translated to Psychological Types. There has been a lot of research done using Jung's work in the last 20 years. Our type on this range of introvert and extrovert personalities spectrum influences our choices in life. For an introvert, the deep inner world is far more important than the outer world of objects, and an extrovert is just the opposite. Extroverts are spontaneous individuals who thrive in groups and gain energy from social gatherings. For your students, their personality type makes all the impact on how they build friendships, what they love, how they express love, make conversation, and resolve conflicts. It will also define, given a choice, what careers they would want to choose. Both personality styles are the interconnected yin and yang that are complementary to each other. These are the voices around us. Both are elements of balance required in our ecosystem. Be it the voice of command of Hazrat Umar ibn al-Khattab, radiyallahu anh, honed to compel obedience, or the chivalrous voice of Hazrat Usman ibn Affan, radiyallahu anh, that gently brings aristocratic ease and assurance to conversations. I identify myself as a person who has more of an introvert temperament than that of an extrovert. You should also take a moment to identify your personality type if you haven't already. It is easy to understand that extroverts may have different needs in a classroom than an introvert, yet this grouping is of a broader and general nature that helps to have an overall distinction. Classroom culture, your temperament, and students' individual basic psychologic functions, thinking, feeling, sensation, and intuition, will determine your didactic strategies. As a response to the outer environment, your student's basic psychologic functions define whether your student will or will not thrive in your classroom. Academic achievements. Generally, students are placed in schools by their age groups, not by their IQ or personality types, and so they are assessed on their academic performance. Standardized paper and pencil testing is a mandatory assessment requirement throughout school life. Therefore, there is a visible taxonomy of high and low achievers on these academic assessments. Teachers are expected to prepare students to learn a standard curriculum, and so the standardized testing is a tool to measure how much of this has been achieved. Hence, you can see under as well as overachievers in a typical classroom environment. More than any other skill, academic content is the most important one that students learn. So, we have a widely agreed upon tool that can measure and assess academic learning. The primary measure to evaluate the effectiveness of your learning environment remains to be the academic achievement. However, there is no such model to assess motivation, creativity, degree of social consciousness, or intuition per se. Therefore, I can only use academic achievement to group students. Nonetheless, the well-being of students ultimately needs to be translated into academic performance. What is the harmony model? I have created a harmony model which can be used by any school. It can be central to the classroom culture. The model supports an overall philosophy and strategy to cater to the emotional needs of your students. The harmony model is, simply put, a classroom management framework that helps teachers decide how to focus on different temperaments of students to help them thrive, rather than merely survive in school. It is a simple table, split into 4 quadrants, each with its unique name denoted by musical metaphors. Each represents your student's personality type, their potential and academic performance. The crescendo, the decrescendo, the fermata, and the rumore. Classification of people into such broad categories might sound an oversimplification. I have set them as a starting point that you can take to make sense of the temperature of your classroom. The 2 types are so perceptible and their existence is quite obvious, even to the layman, once it has been pointed out. Every teacher knows those quiet, inscrutable, reserved students who are observably different from the open, sociable, and approachable ones in their classroom. By assigning each student to one of these 4 categories, you can then decide where to focus your time and energy, and learning plans to help students reach their potential. How does the harmony model work? The harmony model is built on the idea that each personality type, i.e., introvert and extrovert, needs a different environment to flourish. But when the classroom culture offers a particular environment, everyone has to adjust to it accordingly. Ultimately, the high achievers obtain a self-fortifying advantage over others who find it difficult to adapt. These high achievers are well synchronized with the classroom environment. They can also sometimes remain underachievers if they are not pushed to their limits. Other students who remain out of sync are stigmatized with failure after failure. This book offers an understanding through this model of classification that will help in the primary objective of academic performance as well as in creating a balanced classroom culture. Resultantly, we can hopefully achieve the overall emotional well-being of the class participants. Teachers should identify the two axes of the harmony model when deciding lesson plans and classroom activities. The current emotional state, with the relative personality type and academic performance, are discussed in detail in the 4 sections of this book. Each of the 4 quadrants representing a specific combination of relative personality type and academic performance is given below. Extrovert, high achievers, denoted by the crescendo, a progressive increase of intensity and loudness of a musical note. They easily become teachers' favorites and are most likely identified as gifted kids. Introvert, high achievers, denoted by the decrescendo, a progressive decrease in loudness in a piece of music. They also fall in the gifted and favorite category. However, because of their sensitive nature, they can get overwhelmed and attract emotional misbalance in an unsuitable environmental. Introvert, low achievers, denoted by the fermata, a pause of unspecified length on a note, or a rest in music. They are the quite, often misunderstood, and invisible kind. They often reflect turbulent behavior, which, if addressed, can help them thrive. Extrovert, low achievers, denoted by the rumor, meaning noise. They are loud and disturbing, excited and overwhelming. They are often labeled as the troublemakers. Your students are not constrained by a quadrant. Most of them migrate vertically. Before reaching adulthood, a horizontal migration is also possible. Students change a lot in adolescence, and you can witness temperament changes too. In different environments, the openness and moods of students can vary, but our basic personality traits rarely change. You can think about the quadrants as a starting point, a place to reflect on and challenge your thinking. Following this section, I have divided the book into 4 parts, each dedicated to one quadrant. Many of the discussed topics have reasonably broad applications, and when I struggled with where to place my ideas, I put them in reference to the overall theme and flow. I demand the reader to think about its wider application. For instance, gifted students is a topic relevant to the crescendo and also the decrescendo, so I have discussed it mainly in the first part. Similarly, emotional resilience is discussed under the fermata, but the theme is ubiquitous. The intended audience of this book is primarily school teachers. However, this book is extremely helpful for parents and students as well. Thus, I believe the readers will have varied needs and expectations from this book. Where I want teachers to read it in a flow, parents and students can jump straight to the part that they relate with the most. I wish the readers to be open with themselves and have an internal conversation about the various discussed ideas and their application. Additionally, in this book, I am not trying to get you to adopt any particular point of view and thus start from a position of advocacy. I am trying to introduce the idea that we can reshape our future by making active choices. After all, we are what choices we make. This book offers a scheme that will not only help you to set a clear strategy, but also guide you on how you can achieve your goals. You will understand in this book how all the humans, their thoughts, needs, and voices can be harmonized into a beautiful symphony.
If you appreciate the ideas presented in this audiobook, please share it with your friends and family. Also, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. This will help the author to monetize this production. Thank you for your token of appreciation.